What's up everybody, welcome back. In today's video we're going to take a look at hit reaction animations. So we're going to make sure that we add directional ones so that if we get hit from the front or the back or the left or the right, we're going to play different animations. And this probably won't be the longest video, but I want to make sure that people that are not following the entire tutorial can still pretty simple add this to their own project. So I'm going to keep it separate from other subjects. So that's what we're going to do today. If you want to support the channel, you can take a look at becoming a member or take a look at my Ko-fi page. If you do one of those, you will get access to one of the premium channels in the Discord, and you will also get access to some premium downloads, and you will get a YouTube membership badge, so that's cool as well. So if you want to support the channel, please take a look at those options or just leave a like. That's also really appreciated. If you do not want to do any of that, you're still welcome to join the Discord and talk about some game dev stuff or ask questions about a video or things like that. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So there's one small thing I want to take a look at from previous videos. So if you do not follow the entire multiplayer tutorial, you can skip ahead. I'll make sure to add chapters in the search bar so you can easily navigate through the video. So we're going to take a look at the AI controller first. I'm not sure if I just messed this up when I was playing around with the project or I actually made a mistake in the video, so I just wanted to make sure I mentioned this. The can switch targets booleans, I had it set to false by default and it should be true. So double check it. If your AI is not properly switching targets, make sure the can switch targets boolean is set to true. And that's pretty much all I got as fixes for previous videos. So now let's take a look at our hit reactions. So first of all, we're going to make a function that will turn the attack direction from the yaw direction to an enumeration. And that enumeration is simply going to say front, back, left or right. So if you followed one of the previous episodes where we made our AI attack, there we created our damage direction enumeration. So if you do not have it, you want to create it now. So you can right click, go to blueprints and then create a new enumeration, call it damage direction. And if you open it up, you can simply add enumerators and add 4 of them, call them front, back, left and right, and then save and close it down. So with that enumerator in place, we can go to our character, and in here we have our take damage event that's from the interface, and our interface also returns the attacking actor. So we're going to use that to calculate our damage direction. So let's create a function for that to make it a little bit clean. So let's call this GetDamageDirection. And as an input, we're going to give it the attacker. So that's going to be our minion AI based character, or it could also be an actor. So let's call this our attacker. And that's going to be my base AI, minion base. So to get the damage direction, we're going to calculate the yaw difference between the character or our character and the attacker, and then turn it into our enumeration. So first of all, we're going to get the attack location, and that's the actor location that attacked us. So get location. And then we also want to get our own actor location, so we can simply copy and paste it, and then we're going to subtract these two from each other. So subtract and plug in the other vector. And with this vector, we're going to make a rotator from the z-axis. So make a rotator from z and select this one with only the z. And then we can split the rotator here. And we're only going to use the yaw, but now we want to make sure that if our character mesh has an offset, then we also apply that. So if you look over here in your mesh component, by default our mesh is rotated minus 90 degrees on the yaw, so we need to make sure that we take this into account as well. So if we go back into our GetDamageDirection function, then we want to get our actual actor rotation first. So get actor rotation. And that's our own actor rotation. Now we're going to split this rotator over here. And then we're simply going to subtract 90 from the yaw again. So subtract and then 90. So that's the 90 degrees on the mesh over here. And then what we want to do Well, yeah, we could do it like this. You can also drag in your mesh and then drag off here and get your relative rotation, split that and then plug that in over here. We're simply going to make this a static value. Why not? That should work. So now we can drag off our yaw and subtract this again from this yaw. And now we should have the correct damage direction. So we're going to normalize this axis. Oh, really? Normalize axis. So what this does, it will turn it into a rotator from minus 180 to 180. So we'll get values that we can actually work with. And now we're going to promote this to a local variable first. So promote to local variable, and that's my local damage yaw. So let's make sure we plug it in over here. And then we're going to add a few branches. So first let's add one branch over here and check if our local damage yaw is smaller than 0. So smaller than. And if it is, that means we are on the left side of our character. So that could be front, left or back. And if it's above 0, then we are on the right side. So it could be front, right or back. So then we need to determine what the actual position is. So we can get our damage yaw again. And then we're going to check an in range for the float. And we can simply check if it's inside a certain range. So if it's between minus 135 and the maximum minus 45, that means it's completely on our left side. So I'm not going to include max, and then I'm going to add a branch in here, plug this into the true pin, and make sure that we plug in our direction. So if this is true, that means we are on the left side. So we're going to set our local damage direction. So let's add a new local variable, and that's our local damage direction. And we're going to turn that into our damage direction enumerator. So look for the damage direction enum that we just created, or we didn't create it, we created it in an earlier video. So if this is true, then we're going to set it to our left side. And if this is not true, then we can grab another branch over here and simply check if our local damage yaw is smaller than, or sorry, greater than minus 45. So greater than or equal to, and then minus 45. So if that's true, that means we are in the front of us. So let's copy our setter, paste it over here. And if this is true, we are in the front. And if this is not true, there's only one option left. We are at the back. So set this to back. And now that we have the left half of our circle done, we need to tackle the right half. So that's the positive side. So again, first we're going to check a range. So we can pretty much just copy this and paste it over here and connect it to our false pin. So this time we want to set the range from 45 to 135. So 45, 135. And this time I'm going to swap these around. So if this is true, that means we are on our right side. So we can grab these three setters over here and grab this branch as well. So first of all, if this is true, we're going to plug in just the setter, and this time we are on the right side. If this is false, we're going to grab our second branch, and this time we want to check if we are smaller than or equal to 45. So let's make it smaller than or equal to. Plug this in and make sure that we set this to 45. So if this is true, then again we are on our front, and if this is false, the only option left is on our back side. So this should work. And now that we have that done, we simply need to add a return node over here and make sure that we plug in all of our branches. And with all of those hooked up, we're going to drag in our local damage direction and plug that into our return node. And now this should be good to go. So we can get the damage direction from here. Damage direction. And if we have our damage direction set, we want to make sure that we select the correct montage. So we're going to make a function for that as well, and we're going to call that getHitMontage. And that's going to be pretty simple. So let's create the function over here, getHitMontage. And this needs an input, and that's our DamageDirection Enumerator. So let's add that DamageDirection and turn it into our enumerator. There we go. And then we can drag off our damage direction and switch on the enum. And that should give us all the available options that we have. And then we can simply plug in the correct montage. So I'm going to create a local variable and call this local hit montage. And that's an animation montage. So if you want to use multiple montages, you can turn this into an array and then drag off it and get a random index. So it will simply select a random one from the array. And now for the montages, they are set up as additive montages. So let's take a quick look at them. Let me have a quick look where they were at. So they are in the characters, heroes, mannequin, animations, and then actions. And over here we have the hit reaction montages. So I'm just going to open up one of them. Let's grab front this one. So as you will see, it has the additive hit reaction slot set as a slot. So we need to make sure that either we change this to a slot that we're using, or that we're going to add this slot to our animation blueprint. So I'm going to do the last one. I do not really want to go to all of the animation montages to switch the slot, and it's pretty useful to have it in a separate slot because these are additive animations. So if you look on the left side over here, it has a base pose set, and it means that this animation will get added on top of existing animations. So we don't really need to make a switch between animations. We can simply play this on top of our current animation. So if you look at over here and I would clear this animation, so let me remember this, rifle idle ADS. So then you will see the actual animation only animates a few bones, and this will be added on top of the normal animation. And in case of the idle ADS, it will look the way it did. So that's how additive animations work. So it was idle ADS for the pistol, this one. So with that out of the way, we want to make sure that we set them over here. So I'm simply going to set one of them for each side. So I'm going to copy 4 over here and make sure that we connect them up. And then let's go into the folder. So this is so annoying. I don't know why it keeps doing that. So something like this. So we have a front first, so let's grab a front, and I kind of feel like the medium ones look the best for hit reaction melee, or sorry, the large ones. So I'm going to pick the large ones. So let's pick front large for this one, and then we have back, so hit reaction back large, and plug that in here. And then we need a left and a right one, so there's left large and right large. So I'm not even sure if it's meant to say large, but something with an L. So those are the ones that we're using. And then we can simply grab a return node over here as well and plug in all of our branches. And again, we're going to plug in our local variable as the return value. And then we are good to go over here as well. So compile and save it. And then we can go into our event graph, and then for our event take damage, we have a multicast event over here to play some impact effects. So in our case, the server only calls this event take damage, and then it can call a multicast event to replicate either effects or animations or sounds. So for animations, we also want to be inside of this multicast event. So we're gonna add first our function calls over here. So let's get our damage direction, and then from the interface we're going to grab our attacker and plug that in over here. So that will return the correct damage direction, and then we can get the hit montage from that. So plug this in over here, and then we can simply play that. So if I want to go to my multicast event, I'm going to look for the play montage node, add it over here, make sure that we play it on the character mesh, and we can drag in the montage to play to create an input. And then we can simply plug that in over here. So we want to make sure that we move the call from this multicast event to the back. And then we can plug in our hit montage over here. So now we should be good to go. And this should work. And this should also replicate between server and clients or clients. And there is one thing I want to mention. So over here we have the server pick the montage and then pass the montage onto the multicast event. So if we do it this way, then all clients and the server will all see the same montage in case we have different ones for different directions. And why am I saying that? Well, if we look at our AI character over here, and we take a quick look at our die event. So let me die. So over here, we simply call our multicast event and plug in the damage direction, and then this will execute on all clients and the server separately, and they're going to pick a montage, and over here we actually have two different ones for the front. So it could happen that the server and the client and another client each pick a different one, and each animation will look different. So it's not really a huge deal, since players can't see other players' screens usually, so it shouldn't really matter that much. But to make everything a little bit cleaner, we're going to make sure that we change it over here. And we simply want to move this GetDamageDirection over to the server side. So the server will select the montage and then pass that on to the multicast event. So we're going to plug in the montage into the multicast and get rid of our damage direction here. And then we can simply get the call for the dead montage before the multicast call over here. So make sure that you plug it in between those. And move over the damage direction to this function call and plug in the result over here. So now every instance should see the same dead montage for the AI playing as well. So with all of that out of the way, I think we are good to test this. So we have a 2-player game set up. Let's have a quick look. There we go, multiplayer host, and let's join the session. There we go, and now let's see what happens. So let's start our game. So there's our AI coming to attack us. And there's actually no montage playing, so that's pretty cool. Let's see, what did we screw up? So we have our multicast call over here, that should work. We plugged in the montage. This should work with the montage plugged in as well. So what did we forget over here? Nothing really. It must be something in here then. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have a quick look and I'll be right back. Okay, never mind, I already know we didn't add the new slot to our animation blueprint. So I explained that it actually used our additive hit reaction slot, and we only have an upper body slot at this moment. So what I'm going to do for now is simply add a second slot node over here, because I think the animations look a little bit better if they are only played on the upper body, but you can decide for yourself. So if you want to make them full body, you want to place the slot node somewhere here or either here at the end. So I'm going to make them upper body, and then I want to make sure that we change it to our additive hit reaction slot. So that's the slot that the actual montages were set to. So now we can compile and save, and this time it should work. So let's check it out. So I have relaunched my multiplayer session, and this time we should have better luck with the slot node in place. So let's have a little look. And this time we actually have the hit reactions playing, and the server can also see them play for the client. So that's cool, that's working. And if I'm turning around, I will get a different hit reaction depending on where the enemy is related to my own character. So that's working. We could try and check this with the server, but it's kind of nasty to make the AI switch characters. So I have to be far enough away for him to get the other character as a target. So now he does. So this time the server, and we can also see the animations playing from the other side. So that's working as well. So we have everything covered for today. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like. That helps the channel out tremendously, so I greatly appreciate it if you do. Thanks for watching. I'll be back for more soon. Later, guys.